Hello viewers, this is another day with Moment with David. Today I want to continue from what I spoke about, what the government is doing that I think that they are not getting their priority appropriately right. Like talking about spending over 500 billion. I know the government is talking about saying they want to spend 1 trillion to about 1 trillion 125 billion. I'm not a mathematician, but 1 trillion 125 billion in trying to. But I think the government, like I've said in my previous videos, if you go check my subsequent videos, I've made about 2 episodes regarding that government should be looking anything government is putting money into now, it should be probably an investment, reduce wastage and put into investment, production, investment and production. I think another thing government should be looking at is you need to design a policy of industrializing Nigeria. If it's a 10 years plan, if you need to have short, medium and long-term plan that you'll be working with, that subsequent government comes in, maybe the medium term you can finish within 8 years, then the short plan you can finish within 8 years, and where Nigerians can say, okay, this is what you have achieved. So where any other government that comes in, probably even if it's not your party, they have to follow those templates. So it's not about it's not about party or this thing. It's about the interest of Nigerians. And the last time I spoke about tourism, that tourism is an opportunity government can really explore. A lot of countries are making so much money from tourism. I spoke about how Egypt is making over $8 billion. I think about $12 billion now in tourism. Tanzania, Ghana, and some other African countries are really exploring that. Ethiopia, they are doing all this. They are developing and I said that government need to invest in in the tourism sector. In partnership with states, and the private sectors could actually join. In my last one, I spoke about small-scale businesses. That government must really invest in small-scale businesses, and which is very vital because there's a statistic. We don't know how valid that statistic. They say we have about 29 million small-scale, medium, MSE business in Nigeria, but we probably need more than that. In a population of over about 200 and something million, we need MSC or we need small scale businesses that within 50 million to 70 million that can employ 3 to 2 people, randomly. And if you have that, then you can be sure that there will be reduction on unemployment. One of the biggest problems Nigeria is facing now is unemployment. So I now want to talk about another option that government will explore, and they will apply this small scale medium strategy to achieve it, and that is agriculture. Agriculture is huge opportunity. A lot of countries, I can tell you, Russia is making billions of dollars in agriculture. Let me even tell you, Ukraine, Russia, this is one of their biggest importers. Do you know that Russia and Ukraine controls about 20% of the grains that the world consumes? So that means when they have crisis like they do right now, it's going to affect the food market, it's going to affect the global food crisis. It's going to kind of have negative impact, which you are seeing that when you if you're a Nigerian or some other African countries. And that's why you see that so many African countries are interested in what is happening in Ukraine and Russia. Why? Because that's where we get most of our wheat. And when you look at the wheat cost, it has affected our food production. Look at the bread prices in Nigeria, food prices has increased. So government can begin to invest in agriculture in a small scale. We have 37 states practically in this country. If government can invest as much as 5 billion in each state, what does it mean? Speak to each of these states. If you go to the north, and I think that's where the northern government, they are not placing their priority right. Honestly, this one that you are just saying your children should not go to school, that's not what you need. You need to begin to see how you can make your region a real agrarian sector. You can invest as much as 5 billion. Federal government can invest as much as 5 billion in every state. Then every state government will also put up, add whatever they can. If it's in a ratio of 3 billion, 2 billion, even 10 billion, to invest in agriculture, in serious farming. And government must make sure that the previous government have been investing in agriculture, but the money has not actually trickled down to the hands of the farmers. So in this section, I would say you need to carry the local government along to be able to achieve the food sustainability that we need before we now go to the level of exportation. That is it. You need to now look at it, because even on this agriculture, we're going to have episode 1, episode 2 also. I'm going to be mentioning some sectors or some agricultural product that if government really invest in it, it can export it and generate foreign revenue for us that will help stabilize the economy that will help create more jobs, that will help bring down the prices of food. So if government decide to say, okay, over the next 5 years or next 4 years, we want to invest 1 trillion in agriculture, you need to work with local governments, you need to work with states. Now you can decide that, okay, these states go and tell us how many hectares. We will employ graduates, I mean people who are OND to BSc holder and maybe PhD holder. We give them 1 hectare, then they tell them what they have to plant, and government gives them 1 million or 2 million. So if federal government gives you 1 million, yes, the 1 million might not be enough to plant what you want to farm with, but if your state gives you support, imagine each local government decide to give 10 million, state government, so yes, 10 million to support farmers, and the state government to decide to, maybe local government gives 100 million and the federal government has given 5 billion, and some state government can give as much as maybe 3 to 2 billion. This will really help. This will really help the farmers to be able to develop their crops. Then when you talk about agriculture, we have a large supply chain. So you begin to invest in each sector of the supply chain, and you begin to grow them in their own category of crops. And I can tell you that will bring down the prices. When you give them very low interest rates of maybe 1% or 2%, then you can do a good thing. Today, let me just quickly speak about the opportunity that is in cocoa. I'm going to talk about palm in my next episode. I'm going to talk about cotton, the opportunities in cotton. I'm going to talk about cassava, yam, and all that. But looking at cocoa, when you look at the global market for cocoa, that's about $40-something billion at the moment. It is estimated that in the next, by 2027, is going to the cocoa market is going to be trending down to $60 to $70 billion. The question now is that what is government doing about that opportunity? That's where Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, they make so much billions of dollars as their revenue. Nigeria should be keen into that. Let's project and say, okay, in the next 5 years, this thing is going to be $70 billion. Can we target 5% of that? That is $3.5 billion. If you actually, and I can tell you that if you can invest in these farmers in different areas, there are regions that grow cocoa from Ogun State down, Western region, Ondo, Edo, Ogun, they invest heavily in these people, get their graduates and go into that. And in the next 5 years, government can start making as much as about $3.5 billion. You can even up the game. You can up the game to $5 billion. You can up the game to like 7%, 8%, and 10%. There's nobody stops you. The world is so large. If you can produce cocoa in a large chunk, so imagine government can start bringing foreign exchange from excluding oil company. You can see the corruption, the decades of corruption in NNPC. They spent 14 trillion in saying they are trying to service the refineries for the past 10 or 14 years. Nothing to show for it. Without refining one drop of crude oil, you can't keep on waiting for that such. The corruption in NMC, if it looks at the likes of Mele Kyari and those that they don't think there's heaven. They don't think there's heaven. They don't think there's hellfire. They are all fighting for. They want to be so rich that they want to carry money and wink their eye to Jesus Christ at the last day and say, this is money, I have stolen so much enough to be able to get to heaven. So government must diversify, and they must be realistic with their diversification. This other means at which government can generate more revenue. In my subsequent video, I will also talk about other opportunities, because when you invest so much in cocoa, what do you need to do? You need to look at states. About 10 states in Nigeria can do that. Do your planning. We will invest 20 billion in those states, or 50 billion in those states. So 5 billion to each of these 10 states. The governors or the state government will invest. The private sectors will be able to do it. Then you set up a different supply chain. Those who are going to be processing it, you give them loans through microfinance, not all these banks. In one of my videos, I'm going to talk about the havoc our financial institution, in collaboration with the CBN, has put Nigerians to. That it looks as if they are not doing the right job. So thank you very much. I look forward to give you more updates regarding more opportunity in agriculture. Like I said about this cocoa. Cocoa is a very great opportunity that Nigeria can invest in. A lot of farmers can be. You revitalize the existing farmers and create new farmers. If you can invest as much as 50 billion, you just calculate it. We are going to invest as much as 50 billion every year for the next 10 years, that's 500 billion. If you look at that calculation, in the next 2-3 years, you begin to make maybe that's 3.5 billion dollars I'm talking about. If you go by the present exchange rate, which I think that it probably could have been reduced, that's about 3.5 trillion. Thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing from you next week. Thank you. God bless.